Just pause for a second and think about it. How much power does a single voice really have?
It's immense, isn't it?
Yeah, whether it's like a whisper in a quiet conversation or a booming speech on a public stage, words are practically magic, aren't they?
They really are. They shape our reality. They can spark huge changes.
Exactly, and constantly redefine what we believe is even possible. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving headfirst into the power of voice.
Sounds fascinating.
Yeah, we're going to unpack how truly effective communication, intentional rhetoric, unwavering conviction, and just sheer moral courage all combine.
How they all work together.
Right, to inspire action, challenge the status quo, and ultimately help both individuals and societies achieve their boldest dreams. Our journey will sweep across centuries, from ancient philosophers meticulously dissecting the art of persuasion.
Like Aristotle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To modern motivators talking about the crucial role of self-belief. We'll listen to civil rights icons who dare to demand justice, and even judicial figures who have shaped a more inclusive future for all.
It's quite a range.
It is. You'll discover how the seemingly simple act of speaking, listening, and truly understanding can transform not just individual lives, but the very fabric of our collective reality. Our mission in this deep dive is clear: to extract the most potent insights about how voices, and yes, that absolutely include your voice, can drive change, overcome seemingly insurmountable obstacles, and bring about what is truly important. This is going to be a fascinating exploration, so let's unpack this.
What a fantastic journey you've laid out for us. What immediately stands out is how these diverse voices, spanning millennia and vastly different contexts, all sort of converge on this central theme.
Right.
It's not just that we speak, but how and why we speak that truly matters.
Yeah.
The intentionality, the impact, it echoes through time, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. And to truly grasp that impact, we really have to start at the beginning, understanding the very craft of voice itself, the mastery of persuasion and communication.
The fundamentals.
Yeah. The core idea here is that understanding how words work is the absolute first fundamental step to harnessing their power. This isn't merely about the act of speaking, it's about structuring thought and argument for maximum effect, an idea that ancient philosophers grappled with constantly.
Exactly. It highlights that effective communication is a sophisticated discipline, not just some innate talent. It demands understanding foundational principles, and for that, we have to start with someone like Aristotle. Aristotle, in his really important work, Rhetoric, gives us two fundamental tools of rhetorical persuasion, what he called enthymemes and examples.
Enthymemes sounds a bit academic.
It does, but think of it as a rhetorical puzzle. You, the speaker, leave a premise unstated, trusting your audience to kind of fill in the blank.
Ah, okay.
It makes them feel like they're discovering the truth with you, rather than just being lectured. For instance, if I say, that politician is a known liar, so you shouldn't trust their promises, the unstated bit is.
You shouldn't trust liars. Got it.
Right. It's concise, and it engages the audience. An example, on the other hand, is drawing a general conclusion from specific instances, much like, inductive reasoning.
Okay.
What's absolutely crucial for Aristotle is his point that the ability to discern truth and what is similar to what is true are intrinsically linked.
Linked how?
This connection is vital for constructing arguments that aren't just logically sound, but also genuinely convincing and relatable to an audience. It's about building bridges from what's known to what you want to communicate.
So it's about making your audience feel like they're discovering the truth alongside you, even if you're subtly guiding them there. Does he ever worry that this could become manipulative, or where does he draw the line?
That's a critical question, and it's a tension that plays out through much of ancient philosophy. For Aristotle, the goal is often to find the available means of persuasion.
The tools available.
Exactly. While he provides tools, the ethical application is a separate but related concern. He's teaching the craft. And when it comes to making arguments impactful, he talks about the power of exaggeration and vividness, particularly in speeches for display.
Display speeches, like ceremonies or something.
Sort of, yeah. He really emphasizes using metaphors that put its meaning right in front of the eyes to bring abstract concepts to life. Think of calling battleships colorful millstones. You get this strong visual image, right, of overwhelming force and potential destruction.
Wow.
It's about painting a picture with words, not just stating facts, to create an emotional as well as intellectual impact.
That vividness really creates an immediate, almost visceral connection, doesn't it? But while Aristotle was deeply concerned with the practical art of persuasion, Plato, as we see in his Gorgias, approached rhetoric with far more philosophical scrutiny. He seems, well, More skeptical.
He certainly was more skeptical. Plato, through the character of Socrates, introduces a critical distinction that really challenges the rhetoricians of his day. Conviction based on knowledge versus conviction based on belief.
Knowledge versus belief. Okay.
Socrates argues that conviction based on knowledge must be true, whereas conviction based on belief can be either true or false. It's a foundational difference.
Right.
If I know the sun will rise tomorrow because of scientific principles, that's different from believing my favorite sports team will win because I hope they do. This distinction really forces us to question the substance of what's being communicated.
And that's where Gorgias, the skilled rhetorician, has to sort of concede to Socrates that oratory often just creates belief without knowledge.
Right.
Socrates, of course, dismisses this as more of an unsystematic knack than a true art. It makes you wonder, if you're just convincing someone without imparting truth, is that truly ethical? Are we seeing echoes of this today?
Absolutely. It's a question that's never gone out of style. Plato suggests that without a grasp of truth, rhetoric risks being merely a tool for manipulation, not a genuine expertise contributing to wisdom.
But he doesn't dismiss rhetoric entirely.
No, interestingly, he also expands the scope of rhetoric in Phaedrus, going beyond just public speaking. He suggests it encompasses the way both gods and men use words, including poetry and prose, in both public and private spheres.
So it's everywhere, basically.
Pretty much. He acknowledges its pervasive nature, but with a consistently critical eye. He even critiques writing, observing that it cannot answer back.
Can't answer back.
Yeah, meaning it prevents deeper engagement or the dynamic development of ideas in the same way spoken dialogue can. It's a static form, lacking the give and take of a philosophical conversation that truly builds understanding.
Huh. Makes you think about our digital age, right? So much written static communication.
Exactly. So he's not against words themselves, but perhaps against their misuse or their static presentation, which bypasses the critical dynamic process of dialectic. He wants true understanding, not just passive reception.
It's a remarkable nuance. Building on these foundations, we then see Roman rhetoricians like Cicero and Quintilian cultivating the ideal of the complete orator.
Precisely. For the Romans, it wasn't enough to just be clever with words. Cicero's ideal orator, the plenum atque perfectum, was one who de omnibus rebus possit very copiosique dicere, able to speak variously and copiously on all subjects.
On all subjects, that's a tall order.
It is. This goes far beyond mere legal skill. It underscores the absolute necessity for broad knowledge, a comprehensive understanding of the world, history, philosophy, ethics.
Everything.
Basically, yeah. You can't just be slick. You need deep substance. It's a huge intellectual commitment.
It sounds like an orator wasn't just a technician, but a genuinely educated, well-rounded individual. Quintilian, in his Institutio Oratoria, further refines this, especially regarding the teacher's role.
Oh yeah, Quintilian on teaching is fantastic.
He stresses that a teacher must be ethical, strict yet genial, and critically must declaim daily himself.
Right, to provide a living voice model for students. This really emphasizes the power of demonstration and mentorship, showing, rather than just telling. And he makes a powerful point about the difficulty of unlearning bad habits. He shares that anecdote of the piper Timotheus.
Oh, I remember this one.
Who charged double for students who had already been taught by an inferior master. Why double? Because he first had to unteach the bad habits before he can start fresh.
Huh. That's brilliant.
It's a stark reminder that poor instruction or ingrained bad communication habits can be more damaging and harder to correct than no instruction at all. Makes you think about how hard it is to break old communication patterns we might have ourselves.
That's a classic example highlighting how enduring learned behaviors are, good or bad. Quintilian also broadened the material of oratory, defining it as the whole of life, specifically the practical or pragmatic department of ethics.
So, applying moral reasoning to everyday life.
Exactly, which really reinforces Cicero's idea of the broadly knowledgeable orator, linking effective speaking directly to ethical living and civic responsibility.
And this commitment to ethical application is absolutely key. Quintilian then delves into the practical elements of appropriateness and amplification.
Appropriateness and amplification, okay.
He stresses the importance of appropriateness of speech, aligning style with the matter and the persons concerned. That is, the audience, the speaker, the specific occasion.
Makes sense.
Incongruities, he warns, are unbecoming. You wouldn't use the same language at a eulogy as you would at, like, a comedy club, right?
Definitely not.
He illustrates amplification and attenuation using vivid examples, calling a beating a murder or a dishonest person a robber to intensify.
Wow.
or describing an immodest woman as a harlot, as Cicero does. Word choice, as he demonstrates, can dramatically alter perception and impact the argument's reception, showing you how much power lies in careful linguistic selection. Hashtag TagTag 1.2 Modern Strategies for Influence and Engagement.
Yeah. It's clear that the ancients laid a robust foundation for the craft of speaking, giving us so many tools. But how has this evolved in the modern era?
Yeah, things change.
Beyond classical technique, modern communication increasingly emphasizes empathy, purpose, and flexibility to genuinely connect and lead. This is where figures like Dale Carnegie come in.
Carnegie's enduring wisdom, from how to win friends and influence people, offers a wonderfully practical modern take on persuasion, rooted firmly in human connection rather than just pure logic.
Human connection.
Yeah. He introduces the timeless maxim: a drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall.
A classic.
His core principle is that to win someone to your cause, you must first convince them that you are a sincere friend and genuinely interested in him and his problems. This fundamentally shifts the focus from just what you want to what they need, building emotional rapport first.
That's a powerful shift, moving beyond pure logic to emotional rapport, and Black's handling of that strike really illustrates it, doesn't it?
The Robert F. Black example. Absolutely.
Carnegie recounts how Black, president of White Motor Company, successfully de-escalated a strike. Instead of fighting with the workers, he praised them for their peaceful conduct.
Yeah, and even provided recreational stuff like baseball bats in a bowling alley.
Right. He showed genuine interest and empathy, fostering a friendly environment. The striking workers were so won over by his approach that they not only ended the strike, but voluntarily offered to buy fuel from his company without even being prompted.
Amazing story.
It just shows that connecting with people as individuals, seeing their humanity, can be far more effective than just seeing them as adversaries.
It's absolutely about understanding the human element.
Yeah.
Similarly, Simon Sinek, in Start With Why, brings purpose to the forefront, giving us a more strategic lens.
Sinek's why. Very popular idea.
And for good reason. He argues for the critical importance of clarity of WHY. Without it, a brand, an organization, or even a personal message is just a logo, lacking depth, resonance, and true connection.
So the why is the heart of it.
Exactly. He connects this directly to inspiration. People are drawn to a cause to support, not just what the company does. It becomes a matter of faith for them. Think of companies like Apple. People buy into why they innovate, not just what their product is.
So it's not what you do, but why you do it that truly inspires and attracts people. He contrasts inspiring leaders, whose job is to inspire, with dictators who make it all about them and what they want.
Yeah, a very clear distinction.
This clearly draws a line between genuine leadership driven by a shared vision and self-serving control, underscoring the profound moral dimension of communication and influence.
Absolutely. And then Tony Robbins, in Unlimited Power, further expands on modern communication, emphasizing its almost transformative power.
Robbins takes it even further.
He does. He asserts that communication shapes our experiences and interactions, and that mastery of it allows individuals to influence themselves and others. This is about taking control of your internal and external dialogue, seeing communication as a tool for shaping your entire reality.
And Robbins introduces this fascinating idea of flexibility in communication, that the party with the greatest flexibility has the upper hand. Can you unpack what that really means in practice? Does it imply adapting your communication on the fly, having a toolkit of approaches?
Precisely. It means having a wide range of strategies to solve problems, rather than rigidly adhering to just one approach. If your first method isn't working, you have 5 others in your mental toolkit to try.
Okay, so being adaptable.
Exactly. It's about adapting your communication style to the situation, to the specific person you're speaking with, and to the desired outcome. It's an incredibly pragmatic approach to effective interaction.
Makes sense.
And a key technique Robbins discusses for building rapport is pacing and leading.
Pacing and leading.
This involves subtly mirroring another person's gestures, their tone of voice, even their posture, to create a deep, almost subconscious connection.
Like matching them.
Yeah, that's the pacing. Once that connection is established, you can then gently guide the interaction in a desired direction. That's the leading. Think of it like a dance. You match their rhythm, and then you can subtly suggest a new step. It's a highly nuanced and empathetic approach to influence, focusing on building bridges before attempting to persuade.
This moves us beautifully into our second major section, the self-empowering voice. It's not just about influencing others externally, but about articulating our own personal dreams and driving our own success from within.
Turning the focus inward.
Exactly. The core idea here is that success often lies in recognizing and acting upon opportunities that are right in your immediate surroundings, all fueled by personal conviction and honest effort.
This is where we encounter the timeless, almost legendary wisdom of Russell H. Conwell and his famous lecture, Acres of Diamonds.
Ah, yes, acres of diamonds.
Conwell's central and profoundly optimistic message is that in this country of ours, every man has the opportunity to make more of himself than he does in his own environment, with his own skill, with his own energy, and with his own friends.
So look around you first.
Basically, yeah. It's a powerful call to look inward and around you, to truly see the potential right under your nose rather than always assuming it's elsewhere.
He even has a provocative take on wealth, stating that you ought to get rich, and it is your duty to get rich. That sounds a little, intense, maybe.
It can sound that way initially.
Yeah.
But he clarifies this, explaining that to make money honestly is to preach the gospel.
Okay, so honest wealth creation.
For him, it's inherently moral and serves a higher purpose. It's about meeting needs, solving problems, creating value, and by doing so, enriching not just yourself, but the community around you. Precisely. It's about ethical entrepreneurship, where profit is a byproduct of service. And he vividly illustrates this with that tragicomic story of the professor of mineralogy.
No, the one who sold his farm.
Yeah, who sold his homestead in pursuit of diamonds elsewhere.
Yeah.
This professor, Conwell recounts, sat right on that silver to make the bargain, completely missing $100,000 right down here just for the taking because he was convinced wealth was always in some distant exotic mine. It's such a powerful metaphor for our common blindness to local, immediate opportunities, convincing us that the grass is always greener somewhere else when our own backyard might be full of diamonds.
I love that story. It's so relatable, isn't it? Always looking further afield. He also shares a personal anecdote, what he calls the jackknife principle, from his father's country store.
The jackknife story, yeah.
As a young man, he failed to stock jackknives, turning away 3 consecutive customers who came looking for them. This taught him a profound lesson, that the foundation principle of success in business are both the same precisely. Meeting a need is both a kindness and a path to reward.
Such a simple, practical lesson.
If he had just carried on his father's store on a Christian plan, godly plan, he would have had that jackknife ready, fulfilling a simple need and making a sale.
That practical, simple lesson underpins his entire philosophy, and it's so actionable. Another brilliant example is the Hingham toy maker.
Right, the guy who made toys from firewood.
Exactly. This was an unemployed man who, at his wife's urging, consulted his own children to find out what toys they wanted to play with. Using firewood because he had no money for lumber, he whittled strong, unpainted Hingham toys that became world-renowned, making him one of Massachusetts' richest men.
Incredible.
The principle was simple. Judge that what his own children like at home, other people's children would like in their homes too. It's about empathy, keen observation, and serving genuine unmet needs right in your own community, your own backyard. These are literal acres of diamonds.
These stories really reinforce that idea of discovering your acres of diamonds by looking at what's right in front of you and within you. Shifting gears slightly, Earl Nightingale, in The Strangest Secret, brings us to another foundational idea for personal achievement.
Ah, Nightingale.
One that might sound simple, but is deceptively powerful.
Nightingale's Strangest Secret truly boils down to one incredibly powerful, yet often overlooked truth. We become what we think about.
Sounds almost cliche, doesn't it?
It does, but think about it. How many of us truly live by that? He calls this the key to success and the key to failure, emphasizing its transformative power if truly understood. It's not just about positive thinking. It's about the subconscious programming that dictates our actions, our limitations, and ultimately our reality. It's almost unsettlingly potent if you really unpack it.
It is unsettling. It makes you really consider what internal monologue you're running on repeat every day.
Yeah.
To illustrate this, he uses the compelling ship analogy.
Right, the shit.
He contrasts a ship with a definite destination and a captain at the helm, which knows exactly where it's going, with one adrift without a helm, which will either sink or end up a derelict.
A wreck.
He directly links this to human beings with or without clearly defined goals. Without a destination, you're just floating.
Exactly. Without a goal, without that clear direction, we are essentially adrift, subject to the whims of circumstance. Nightingale then offers practical steps for cultivating a positive mindset. framing it as a 30-day
A
challenge.
30-day challenge, okay.
Yeah. Think cheerfully about your goals each morning. Actively replace fearful thoughts with positive mental pictures, and crucially, give of yourself more than you've ever done before.
Give more.
Yeah. He believes deeply that returns in life must be in direct proportion to what you give. It's an active, intentional process of mental transformation, a daily discipline.
That brings us to how we actually build that empowered mindset from within, the internal architectures of success.
The inner work.
Right. The core idea here is that personal transformation stems from actively shaping our beliefs, our values, and even our emotional states. It's about embracing vulnerability and committing to continuous self-improvement.
And Tony Robbins, in Awaken the Giant Within and Unlimited Power, provides a practical blueprint for this internal architecture. He explains that beliefs act as filters for our perceptions and direct commands to our nervous system.
Direct commands to our nervous system. Wow.
Think about that. Limiting beliefs like I'm not good enough literally hinder us, while empowering beliefs like I can learn and grow create a success affirmation cycle.
So beliefs aren't just thoughts.
No, they are powerful, tangible directives to our entire being, dictating what we see and what we do.
So our internal dialogue literally programs our nervous system. That's a profound concept. Does Robbins offer a practical, immediate way for listeners to start reprogramming that right now?
He absolutely does. He introduces neural-associative conditioning, which involves linking unbearable and immediate sensations of pain to our old behavior and incredible and immediate sensations of pleasure to new behavior to drive lasting change.
Pain and pleasure.
It's about retraining your brain through intense emotional association. For example, if you want to stop a bad habit, you associate it with immense pain, and then you link the new positive habit with intense pleasure. It's about leveraging our nervous system rather than just our willpower.
That's a powerful approach to breaking negative patterns and forming new, empowering ones. Robbins also highlights the significance of values and alignment, super important, stating that our values define what is truly important to us. A lack of this alignment between our actions and our deepest values can lead to inner conflict and dissatisfaction.
That rings true.
This reminds us that true success isn't just about external achievements. It's about living congruently with who we truly are at our core.
And he emphasizes physiology's role in all of this, drawing a direct connection between our physical state, our posture, our muscle tension, our breathing, and our mental state.
Mind-body connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He shows how feeling energetic and healthy can lead to a positive mental outlook, and conversely, how physical stress can negatively affect our perceptions and even our ability to think clearly. It's an integrated system. Mind and body are inextricably linked, and you can influence one through the other.
Moving from Robbins' psychological mechanics, Les Brown and Live Your Dreams, inspires us to live by design, not by default.
Les Brown. It's possible.
Exactly. He emphasizes the profound power of goals. For them to be truly effective, he says, goals must be well-defined, realistic, like aiming to be a state representative before president, he suggests.
Good example.
Exciting and meaningful to you, locked into your mind, and crucially, acted upon. Goals aren't just wishes or vague aspirations. They are concrete, actionable plans for your future.
And he also stresses the absolute necessity of expanding your comfort zone.
Getting uncomfortable.
You have to put yourself in a position where you have to stretch outside your comfort zone to activate dormant powers and expand your consciousness. This means actively seeking challenges and growth rather than shying away from them. He's essentially saying that growth happens at the edges of what you think you can do.
That's often easier said than done, isn't it? But it's true, we often discover what we're capable of when pushed. And on that journey, Brown underscores the value of seeking guidance.
Mentors, role models.
Recognizing the importance of advisors, mentors, and role models to help us achieve greatness. We don't have to figure it all out alone. These figures can provide invaluable perspectives, support, and shortcuts based on their own experiences.
Speaking of challenges, Brené Brown, in Daring Greatly, presents a truly transformative perspective on vulnerability.
Brené Brown. Vulnerability is strength, right?
Exactly. She challenges the common perception of vulnerability as weakness, asserting that it is, in fact, the core of all emotions and feelings, and the birthplace of love, belonging, joy, courage, empathy, and creativity.
The birthplace. Wow.
To believe feeling is weakness, she argues, is to foreclose on our emotional life. This is where it gets really interesting because it flips our conventional wisdom on its head.
It really does. What's fascinating here is the paradox of vulnerability she identifies. I want to experience your vulnerability, but I don't want to be vulnerable.
Right. We want it from others.
But not for ourselves. Vulnerability is courage in you and inadequacy in me. It's this deep-seated human resistance to our own emotional exposure, even as we crave authenticity and emotional depth in others. It's a fundamental contradiction many of us live with.
And she gives a powerful example of this in parenting and adversity. Parents often struggle with letting their children struggle and experience adversity, preferring to rescue them from any discomfort.
The rescuer parent.
This, she argues, demonstrates the parent's own uncertainty, risk, and emotional exposure, not the child's inability. It's a reflection of our discomfort with vulnerability projected onto our children, and it can actually prevent them from developing resilience.
That's a powerful insight into how our own fears can inadvertently impact those we care about most. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Brown explains shame as the fear of disconnection.
Fear of not belonging.
Yeah, the belief that we're unlovable and don't belong. Cultivating resilience against shame, therefore, is crucial for fostering genuine connection and an empowered mindset. It's about accepting ourselves fully, flaws and all, to truly live wholeheartedly.
And vulnerability is the path.
Vulnerability is the path to that acceptance and connection. From personal empowerment, we now turn to the challenging voice, how individuals use their voices to advocate for justice and drive social change.
Seeking truth to power.
Exactly. The core idea here is that throughout history, courageous individuals have used their voices to expose hypocrisy, demand equality, and challenge oppressive systems, often at great personal risk.
Indeed. We look at figures who stood as moral beacons, often in incredibly difficult times. Sojourner Truth, for example, embodied what she called the two most hated elements of humanity, being black and a woman, yet she spoke with deep insight.
An incredible figure.
Her voice was an undeniable force,
Yeah.
empowering the marginalized with simple, undeniable truths.
Her famous Ain't I a Woman speech directly challenged both gender and racial norms with incredible power and directness. She powerfully asked, if woman upset the world, do give her a chance to set it right side up again.
Such powerful logic.
She also had this direct challenge for her audience. If women want any rights more than they've got, why don't they just take them and not be talking about it?
Well, just take them.
It's a call to action born from her raw, lived experience, cutting through layers of societal expectation.
And her communication style was truly marked by simple honesty and a profound wisdom that came from life, not books. The bloomers anecdote.
Oh, tell us about that.
She explains her line about having bloomers enough when I was in bondage to a disbelieving male audience, showing how her real-world experiences lent immense weight and authenticity to her words.
Ah, I see.
She believed she was called by God to the anti-slavery cause and to work for the poor and outcast, famously stating, I can't read a book, but I can read the people. That intuitive understanding of humanity was her superpower.
What's fascinating here is how her voice, despite a complete lack of formal education, cut through all the complex rhetoric of the day because it was so grounded in truth and experience. Similarly, Frederick Douglass,
Another giant.
in his What to the Slave is the 4th of July speech, used his voice to expose the bitter irony of America's ideals and its brutal realities.
Douglass delivered a searing critique that remains incredibly powerful to this day, highlighting the stark discrepancy between American ideals of liberty and the brutal reality of slavery.
The hypocrisy.
Right. He observed that while the nation's fathers bravely challenged unjust, unreasonable, and oppressive government, in his own day, siding with the oppressed against the oppressor was deemed unfashionable, even dangerous.
A betrayal of the founding ideals.
Exactly. It was a profound betrayal of the very principles the nation claimed to stand for.
He didn't pull any punches, detailing how the Fugitive Slave Act nationalized slavery in its most horrible and revolting form, effectively making New York as Virginia.
Turning the whole country into a hunting ground.
And turning the broad Republican domain into a hunting ground for men, it revealed the truly pervasive nationwide reach of injustice, leaving no state untouched by the stain of slavery.
And he didn't spare the American church, expressing his profound weariness of the blasphemy of religious institutions that supported or tolerated slavery. This raises an important timeless question. How can a society reconcile its stated values with its practiced injustices? And what crucial role should moral voices play in relentlessly confronting that hypocrisy.
A challenge that still echoes.
In various forms today, absolutely.
It truly is a profound question. Then we have Patrick Henry's famous "Give me liberty or give me death" speech, where urgency and an immediate call to action were the driving forces.
No subtlety there.
No nuanced compromise there.
No, absolutely not. Henry's declaration, "We must fight, I repeat it, sir, we must fight," was a visceral, unmistakable call to arms in a moment of existential crisis for the colonies.
He really pushed back against hesitation.
He did. He confronted the fear of weakness head-on, challenging those who felt ill-equipped or hesitant. When shall we be stronger? Will it be the next week or the next year? This demonstrated a fierce refusal to defer necessary action, understanding that the time for change, for revolution, was now, not later. His voice galvanized the nation.
In stark contrast to Henry's fiery rhetoric, Booker T. Washington, in his Atlanta Compromise speech, offered a more nuanced, pragmatic,
And sometimes controversial.
and at times controversial, path forward for African Americans in post-Reconstruction America.
Washington's iconic advice, "Cast down your bucket," urged both black and white communities to find opportunity and develop resources within their existing environments rather than seeking distant solutions.
Focus on the local, the practical.
It was called for self-reliance, vocational training, and practical economic advancement within the constraints of the time. He presented a vision of unity and progress, yet separation in purely social life. In all things that are purely social, we can be as separate as the fingers, yet one as the hand in all things essential to mutual progress.
Separate as the fingers, one as the hand.
It was a complex, pragmatic approach to navigating a deeply divided society, aiming for economic uplift as a foundation for broader rights.
These challenging voices of the past continue to guide us as we look to the future. Effective leadership and responsible citizenship demand foresight, ethical frameworks, and the preservation of memory to guide future generations. Theodore Roosevelt certainly understood this interconnectedness.
Roosevelt, in the words of Theodore Roosevelt, defined the good citizen not just by passive adherence to rules, but as one who strives manfully to do his duty to himself, to his family, to his neighbor, to the state.
Active citizenship.
Exactly. This wasn't about quiet compliance. It was about active, robust, and sometimes aggressive engagement in civic life.
He also famously critiqued the timid good and those too delicate to have the element of strike back in their natures.
Not holding back there either.
No. Stressing the need for coarse fiber and virile character to stand up for one's rights and for justice. For Roosevelt, goodness without strength was ultimately ineffective. He truly championed foresight for future generations, asserting that the term "for the people" must always include the people unborn as well as the people now alive.
That's incredibly relevant today, isn't it?
It is a powerful idea for sustainable governance, environmental stewardship, and ensuring a lasting legacy beyond our immediate concerns.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, he also placed a heavy moral obligation on those with means and education to serve the public.
A duty, not a privilege.
Viewing it as a duty rather than a right to superiority or privilege. Education, for him, came with profound civic responsibility, a mandate to contribute back to society.
Moving into the realm of legal justice, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, in my own words, truly gave her voice to striving for a more inclusive society through legal scholarship and judicial action.
The notorious RBG.
Indeed.
Justice Ginsburg dedicated her career to fighting sex-based discrimination, tireless in her advocacy for the Equal Rights Amendment, the ERA, which aimed to guarantee equal legal rights for all American citizens regardless of sex.
Foundational work.
Absolutely. Her work was foundational in reshaping the legal understanding of gender equality. She believed deeply that we will all profit from a more diverse, inclusive society, understanding, accommodating, even celebrating our difference while pulling together for the common good. Her vision was one of strength through diversity.
She also brought critical nuance to the discussion of race-conscious policy.
That's a tricky area.
It is, distinguishing in her dissent between using such criteria to keep the races apart and the use of race-conscious criteria to bring the races together. This highlights the importance of intent and desired outcome in policymaking.
A subtle but vital distinction.
An incredibly subtle but vital distinction that often gets lost in public debate.
And her embrace of the power of dissent is particularly insightful and inspiring. She, like Justice Scalia, believed that dissents augment rather than diminish the prestige of the court.
Interesting, even from Scalia.
Right. Providing comfort for a future day when historical mistakes are recognized and potentially rectified. It's a legacy of hope and a trust in the long arc of justice that today's dissent could be tomorrow's majority opinion.
Which perfectly segues into Elie Wiesel's profound reflections on the moral imperative of memory in Conversations with Elie Wiesel. He warns us about the insidious, almost terrifying power of words themselves.
Wiesel's warning is chilling and urgent. Certain words are dangerous. They are carriers of death. And these words should be unmasked first and disarmed later.
Unmasked and disarmed. Powerful imagery.
It raises an incredibly important question about the profound responsibility we all bear in the language we use, and the constant vigilance required to identify and counter harmful rhetoric, especially given the rapid spread of information today.
We have to be vigilant.
Absolutely. He relentlessly stressed the conviction that if we forget, we step backwards because we go back to the abyss of ignorance. For him, memory is not just remembrance. It is a moral act, an active shield against repeating past atrocities, a duty to learn from history.
And his definition of moral perception is beautiful in its simplicity, yet so challenging. It involves the other.
The other.
It's not what's good for me, but what's good for you. It's a powerful call to empathy and altruism, demanding we look beyond our own self-interest.
A profoundly challenging thought for our often individualistic age, isn't it? Finally, Kurt Vonnegut, in If This Isn't Nice, What Is?, offers a uniquely humanist and often darkly humorous critical voice.
Vonnegut, gotta love him.
He expressed despair at the destruction of the planet, his contempt for the politicians who get us into war from the safety of their age and position. His voice was often a counter-narrative, aimed unflinchingly at the powerful and the complacent.
He was a staunch advocate for a humanist ethos, explaining it as behaving as honorably as we can without any expectations of rewards or punishments in the afterlife, and serving one's community.
Doing good for its own sake.
It's about earthly responsibility and a collective good, making this life count for others, right here and now.
And he offered a simple yet profound wisdom through his Uncle Alex's saying, if this isn't nice, what is?
I love that. Just pause and appreciate.
It's a beautiful, almost meditative reminder to pause, appreciate, and find the good in life's rewarding moments, a necessary counterpoint to his own societal critiques and despair. He also offered a powerful critique of unchecked power, observing chillingly that big money and TV have disconnected every burglar alarm in the Constitution.
Oof, that's blunt.
It is. A stark warning about the erosion of democratic safeguards when powerful interests go unchallenged, a timely message for any era.
What an incredible sweep of voices, insights, and urgent calls to action, from the philosophical foundations to the moral imperatives of our time. #tagoutro. We've truly explored the profound and incredibly varied landscape of the human voice today. We started by delving into the meticulous craft of rhetorical masters like Aristotle and Quintilian.
Learning the basics, the structure.
Right, who taught us about the fundamental structure and impactful delivery of words. Then we moved to modern strategies of influence and engagement, learning from Dale Carnegie about the power of genuine interest.
That drop of honey.
From Simon Sinek about the critical importance of clarifying your why, and from Tony Robbins about the incredible flexibility and personal transformation that communication can bring.
From there, we turned inward, exploring the self-empowering voice. We heard Russell H. Conwell's compelling message of finding acres of diamonds in our own backyard.
Looking right around you.
And Earl Nightingale's transformative, we become what we think about. We then delved into the internal architectures of success with Tony Robbins on the power of beliefs and values, Les Brown on actively designing our dreams,
Living by design,
and Brené Brown on the profound, often uncomfortable courage of vulnerability.
Finally, we heard the challenging voices that advocate for justice and social change. Sojourner Truth and Frederick Douglass courageously exposing hypocrisy and fighting for equality.
Speaking truth to power.
Patrick Henry igniting a revolution with his urgency, and Booker T. Washington carving a complex, pragmatic path forward. We concluded with leaders who sought a better future, from Theodore Roosevelt's call for active citizenship and foresight,
Thinking of the future generations.
to Ruth Bader Ginsburg's tireless fight for an inclusive society and her embrace of dissent, to Elie Wiesel's moral imperative of memory, and Kurt Vonnegut's humanist critiques and simple, profound wisdom.
The unifying thread through all these diverse sources is undeniable, isn't it? Our voice, whether in how we think, how we communicate, or how we advocate, is an instrument of immense, almost unfathomable power.
It really is.
It can be honed, cultivated, and used not just to express, but to truly transform ourselves, our relationships, and the very fabric of society.
Indeed. Considering the echoes of these powerful voices through history and the clarity they offer on the purpose and impact of our words, what responsibility does this immense power place on your voice here and now? How will you choose to use it to shape the world around you and indeed the world within you? That's a thought to sit with, and we hope it inspires you to speak and to listen with renewed intention and purpose. Thank you for diving deep with us.